I'm trying to remember when I first met Ed. I think it was either playing chess at Clark University or through a mutual acquaintance, Wiley Rogers. I'm not sure. But anyhow, we got along pretty well. He was always working in industrial situations, which is what I was doing. So I think the first time I worked with him was at Felter's company. And of course we both liked chess. He was a little better than I was. But we'd work on the machines. They had big hot platens where they made the felt on. And a lot of times you'd have to change the bearings underneath them, which would shake the platen. And sometimes we'd sit under there banging away, actually playing chess and pretending we were changing these bearings, which we did eventually. But we got in a lot of chess. And after Felter's, I think we used to hang around a little of this and a little of that, and I think he went to work at Joy Metal Recovery, and they had a lot of computer equipment and things like that. I was just learning about it, and Ed worked there, and we'd go in there and salvage various oddball things. Over the years we worked together. He worked for me at Profiles for a while, and he was a good mechanic, and he had a lot of good ideas on how to approach things. He would look at them and decide how he wanted to approach a task. One thing about Eddie was he was never afraid to tackle the biggest, ugliest jobs, and he would get right into them. He'd get about as dirty as you could get, and he was always successful, I think, in the end. Another thing I remember about Eddie is that he always had a joke, some kind of pun or some kind of joke, and he had quite the repertoire. I can't even remember them all. Ed was unusual in that I think as long as I knew him, which was quite a few years, I don't think I ever saw him express anger. He was pretty easygoing, and I'm sure he must have gotten angry about things, but he would stay calm and always presented a cheerful outlook and a cheerful presentation. In later years, I didn't see him too much. He'd go over and play chess with my son Michael quite a bit, and I met him a few times, but really not too often. I did see him just before he passed, and he seemed just like cheerful old Ed. Well, Ed was a good partner in crime. One time we decided to pick up some tools from the railroad, and they had a tool shed sitting next to the railroad tracks. So Ed picked locks, and he got in there, and we grabbed a few tools, and we're looking around, and along comes the railroad police, and we got out just in time, and they chased us down the tracks, and we ran for a couple hours, maybe 3 hours. Just, they were looking around for us, and we disappeared into town and got away.
Ed was a collector of things. Many years ago, he simply arrived at my door and gave me some round cut mirrors from the factory where he worked that eventually became this sculpture. He would come to my mother's house to speak Polish to her neighbor and took her on her first motorcycle ride. Later, he took me into the subcellar of a factory space he was renting and showed me that the Blackstone ran under it. This became the basis for the following poem, written in response to Tony Brown's workshop on poetry of place, illustrated, then shown in Arts Worcester's juried show, Page Turner, and at the Worcester Art Museum's show, Macabre. Water Street, or more appropriately, water under the street. According to Gitch, the dishwasher at Lederman's, the rats would come up from the Blackstone into their cellar. I bought my bakery goods from Widoff's across the street from that time on. Hot, fresh bread at midnight on Saturday. A hookah bar has replaced Lederman's. Actual rats or hallucinated rats? Who would know? Long ago, I saw the actual canal from Ed Chanowski's factory rental on Thomas Street that opened into a subcellar featuring piles of clear, empty bottles, abandoned by their manufacturer, that reflected the light from a flashlight into an opening to the turgid waters of the canal itself. The building has been replaced by the courthouse, some rats above and some rats below.